Hi, my name's Anissa and I'm part of Group 17.
My name is Marco Cortez from Group 17.
Hi, my name is Emily Morales from Group 17.
In case 17.1, we see that during a field hockey game, tensions arose in the second period when Karina, the middle fielder for the Red Reddies, was caught hitting Galena, the middle fielder for the Bright Green Stars. Although Karina received a foul during the game, Galena was left with several bruises across her back, so she decided to press charges against Karina. However, Karina argued that field hockey is a physical sport and it is inevitable to avoid physical contact in the game. Karina also claimed that the team was threatened by the coach and that they were told to do anything to win. In this scenario, we see an example of duress. The pressure Karina's coach inflicted on her to win the game by any means necessary is what persuaded her to be more aggressive during the game.
On case 17.1, question number 3, purpose of the law. This law aims to use threats or psychological pressure to force someone to behave in a way that is contrary to their wishes. Duress is used as a form of defense to a crime where the defendant uses threats to force the plaintiff to commit a crime that is against their wishes. Moving on to question number 4, apply law to facts. In this case, we can use the facts that the coach said. In this case, Karine responded that she was under pressure to win the game, that her coach Taquino Prisoners told the team it had to win the game or else. This can be used in defense of Karine because she was forced to try and win no matter what she had to do. She had that pressure of her coach saying or else and not knowing exactly what that would mean. She could even argue that the coach is threatening or forcing her. That's why we chose to apply the law of duress, because this can be seen as a threat from her coach, which persuaded her actions.
For case 17.1, my group and I concluded and decided that duress fit this case correctly. We know that field hockey is a physical sport which can lead to injuries, which is why we believe that Karine should not be held liable for her actions, as she was just trying to play the game. It was not her fault because we can prove that Karine felt pressured and threatened by her coach. So, as stated previously, Karine should be excused from criminal liability.
In case 17.2, we look at an individual named Anthony, who was an activist that was arrested and charged for arson and assault while trying to make a stand against people dangerous to society. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. However, after 2.5 years in prison, Anthony requested parole. The Parole Board of Loving State is an administrative agency that was put in place to help end systemic racism in the parole process. When receiving parole requests, they look at things such as crime that caused the individual to be in prison, the individual's behavior while serving time, and any previous criminal history. Although Anthony was a model prisoner throughout his sentence and had good behavior, he was still denied parole and decided to appeal the parole board's decision. In this scenario, we see the arbitrary and capricious test come into play. Anthony had the parole board's decision appealed because he believed that their decision was based on arbitrary. Based on the parole standards for granting parole, it would seem that Anthony would have no problem getting parole granted. This was Anthony's first time being arrested, and he was considered a model prisoner while serving. Therefore, since Anthony was a role model for how prisoners should behave, there is no reason he should have been denied for parole.
Moving on to case 17.2. So I'm going to focus on question 3, purpose of the law. This purpose of the law of arbitrary and capricious means doing something according to one's will or caprice, and therefore conveying a notion of tendency to abuse the possession of power. In this case, we can see that they did abuse their power. Arbitrary and capricious states that one of the factors is failure to provide a rational explanation for their decisions. Moving on to question 4, apply law to facts. The way that I can apply this law to facts in this case is they state the parole board was required to review Antoni's record to determine his suitability for release. Antoni's request was supported by evidence that he'd been a model prisoner and that he'd participated in education and counseling programs during his prison stay. Whenever possible, Antoni continued to send letters and write to government officials arguing that the richest one was a danger to society. The parole board denied his parole request. During that denial, they didn't give a valid reason as to why they denied his parole or how they came up with the decision.
To conclude case 17.2, my classmates and I decided that the agency was arbitrary and capricious. The parole board should be appealed and Anthony's request for parole should be granted due to the clear abundant evidence that shows his adequate behavior while in prison. This concludes our presentation and I hope you enjoyed it.